Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to another edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast. As we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today. This is very key. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. Anidjar and Levine, Accident Attorneys. This guy now joins me, if I could talk here on a Monday. It's been a long couple of days. This guy's on the West Coast. He's here to talk some NFL with me and the Buccaneers. He's my good friend, Luke Easterling, Athlon Sports. Luke, how you doing today, buddy?
It's a bummer. It's vintage Pacific Northwest weather today. We're gonna have like just rain all week long, but it matches the soul of a Bucs fan after the rainy, ugly whatever that was against the Saints at home on Sunday. That was not fun to watch.
All right, I'll ask the question. What happened? I mean, come on, you can't lose this game. What happened, buddy?
I wish I had answers for you. Like, there's just so many inexplicable things. Like, you can't convert a 4th and short. You drop like the touchdown they missed to Ibuka at the end there. Like, that's like half Ibuka, like, and half Baker. It's like, please make like just a little bit of a better throw to a wide open receiver. And also, like, I know it's not an easy catch, but it's a catch you should make. So please just get up, like, just go make the catch. Like, they both made it harder on themselves than they needed to be. And there was one drive where they finally put Sean Tucker in to to pound the rock in the rain, and they drove right down the field and scored a touchdown. And then they stopped doing that. They didn't have him on the field in short yardage when they needed to. Like, it's just, the defense missed too many tackles again. I hate to say it, Levante David looked 35 years old for maybe the first time all season long. If he makes that open field tackle against Devin Neal and the Saints have to punt, maybe this is a different ball game. I don't know, man. I defend Todd Bowles as much as anybody, and I think it comes from the fact that when you grow up a Bucs fan in the 80s and 90s, you see so much bad football that when you win 4 division championships in a row, you're pretty happy with that. Like, you're just like, okay, that's a pretty good standard of living. But games like that one on Sunday, those are the games where all the people who are like, that's not good enough, Todd Bowles and the ceiling that this team has under this staff is not high enough. Those are the games where I start to listen to that and I start to understand that a little bit better, because it's like, yeah, this team can maybe win the NFC South and go to the playoffs again, and that's great. That's cool. But they're going to get their ass beat by an actual good team. Like, any good team they play, this iteration of this Bucs team is going to get destroyed. They're not a good football team. They're a decent football team when they want to be, but they're not a good one. And that's what happened yesterday. They got beat by one of the worst teams in the league at home in a game they really needed to have to create some distance in the division standings. And they just couldn't do it. Like, all 3 phases. The kick coverage still sucks. It sucked all year. I don't know what else to say about that. Like, if you're a kick return, if you're an offense playing against the Bucs, just expect to start at midfield every single drive, because that's what happens when the Bucs kick the ball to you. So there's a lot to fix. I like the fact that the Bucs keep winning the division every year. I don't know if that's going to happen this year. The Carolina Panthers, if the Bucs don't figure something out real fast, the Carolina Panthers are going to punch this team in the mouth maybe twice. And the Bucs are going to miss the playoffs. They've got to figure it out real quick.
Did you get it all out?
Come on. Maybe. There's probably some still in there. Listen, they don't have time either. They got to play Thursday night, and it's going to be a beautiful game. They're wearing the creamsicles. The Falcons are wearing the throwbacks with the red helmets and the black jerseys. Like, it's going to be a beautiful aesthetic game. I really hope they show up. Somebody asked Baker at the press conference after the game on Sunday, how do you keep yourselves from getting frustrated? And he was like, what are you talking about? We should be frustrated. Like, this is, if you're not frustrated, what are you doing here? Like, you go take your frustration out on the Falcons Thursday night. Like, this team should be pissed off. They should be frustrated, but they've got to harness that and project it towards the opponent Thursday night, because they have no time to waste. They've got to win at least these last 3 division games. The Dolphins game really doesn't matter as much. But man, they've got 2 against the Panthers, and that one Thursday night against the Falcons is massive. They've got to have these games or it's over.
Get this Falcons game out of here and bring on the Panthers. Who cares? I know you got to win, but I want cinema. I want the matchup. I know you've been thinking about it for a couple weeks. Panthers in play, so now you're tied. Dude, If I would have told you in July and August that the Carolina Panthers would be in this situation, what would you say to me?
I would say that Bryce Young has finally figured it out, and Dave Canales is as good as I expected him to be as a head coach, which I was really frustrated when he left Tampa because I thought he was a good offensive coordinator. I think Dave's a great head coach. He's just that type of guy. I think he fits that role better. He's not as good of a play caller as he is a leader and just a CEO type head coach. I think he's really well suited to that. And that's bad news for Bucs fans. He's going to be in your division for a while, I think. But honestly, like, I'm not that surprised, to be honest, because the Panthers have had something boiling there, like simmering for a couple of years now. And if they could just get Bryce to figure things out and just be good enough around him, I thought they were going to be a problem, and they're a problem.
Think about the draft trade for the first pick. So they could go get Bryce Young. The fact that they're competitive and have a chance to win the division, I think is amazing. It is. All the assets they gave up to the Bears, all that, and they're still there. It's a great.
This is why if you hit on the quarterback, nobody cares about anything else. Like, nobody, it doesn't matter what you do. If you miss, obviously it's the other way around and you're going to get fired for it. But if you hit, nobody cares. If you traded 5 first-round picks for a guy, but you win a Super Bowl, like, that's all that matters. That's all anybody does any of this for, is to win championships. So if it means that Bryce Young ends up being the guy now that they've finally built enough around him, then whatever they gave the Bears, which was a lot, and I think was a great deal for both teams, if it works out and they get the quarterback, they're not going to care.
You bring up Canales, also Liam Cohen, a phenomenal job with Jacksonville.
Yep.
I still don't trust them, but still, great job. Do you, as a guy that watches the Bucs, do you kind of like in the back of your head, maybe one of those guys should be our head coach right now? Or are you still with Todd Bowles?
Listen, people have to understand that this is not Madden. Like, this is not a video game. It's not fantasy football. It's not a simulation. Like, these are real human beings. These are people. And so with that comes like relationships and history and communication. Like, there's all kinds of human things to these decisions, right? Dave Canales had been a play caller once in his career. He had been an assistant for most of his career in Seattle under Pete Carroll. He comes to Tampa Bay. He's got 1 year as an offensive coordinator, and then he's hired away to go coach the Panthers. The Bucs were not going to remove Todd Bowles after 2 or 3 division titles and replace him with a guy that's never been a head coach before. That just because he ran the offense better. Like, that's fine. That's great. It's a different job. Liam Cohen comes in. Liam Cohen had 5 jobs in 6 years. Like, he went from an assistant on Sean McVay's staff. He goes back to the college level to Kentucky. Then he goes to Tampa. 1 to 2 years at all of those stints, and then he ends up in Jacksonville. Listen, the Bucs offense was incredible last year under him in the first year. But people who genuinely expected the Bucs to say, sorry, Todd, thanks for winning 3 or 4 division titles in a row, 3 under Todd Bowles. Thanks for winning the division. Every year you've been our head coach. We're going to fire you and replace you with this one guy who's been here for 1 year and has been everywhere else for a year at a time for the last 5 years. Like, that's just not realistic. It was never going to happen, no matter how much you want to just look at the numbers and say, oh, well, Bowles' defense isn't consistent enough, isn't good enough, and the offense without Liam Cohen is going to regret. Like, those things might all be true. Nobody is ever going to fire a head coach that's won 4 division titles to keep a guy that's been there for a year. It's just never going to happen. So kudos to Dave Canales because he's doing great. Kudos to Liam Cohen. I think Liam Cohen inherited a much better Jaguars team than a lot of people gave them credit for. They were not the 5th worst team in the league last year. They had a ton of injuries. They have a ton of veteran leadership on that team. So I think he's been great for them, but I think they've been great for him as well. Rising tides have raised all boats in Jacksonville. So again, if a Bucs fan is looking at either of those things and saying, wow, we just should have fired Todd and kept one of them, maybe in retrospect, that would have been the better decision. But I'm just here to tell you it was never, ever going to happen because of it doesn't work that way.
Great answer. We're here at Luke Easterling. All right. What if they lose Thursday, the Buccaneers? Are you done? Are you throwing in the towel? What are you doing?
Of course you don't throw in the towel because if you beat Carolina twice, nothing else matters. Like, you just got to handle your business. Losing Thursday, I think losing Thursday could do one of two things. It could really galvanize the team and be like, "Hey, man, we got to get our stuff together," or the wheels could fall off. Like if you lose those two division games against the two division teams that are the least threatening to you, and you lose them both at home, like I don't know what to tell you. At that point, like I texted my brother yesterday. We have our family game day thread that we always text in. Which shout out to my sister, by the way. The most impressive performers at the Bucs game yesterday were actually the cheerleading squad, because they had a alumni performance where they brought back cheerleaders from like every era, going back to the old like creamsicle days, the swashbucklers. They had a massive performance at halftime of all these like alumni cheerleaders, and my sister, who was a Bucs cheerleader for 3 seasons, got to be a part of that and participate in that. So shout out to my sister and all the great cheerleaders for the Bucs history. They were the best players on the field on Sunday. I just want to point that out, unfortunately. But listen, man, if you lose these 2 games to the 2 worst teams in the division at home when you need to have them, I texted my brother. I said, the Bucs are going to get what they deserve at the end of the season. They're either going to earn this division title by beating the teams they have to beat, or they're going to lose and they're going to be out of the playoffs, and they'll deserve it. Like, they will earn that because they didn't take care of business. So we're about to find out Thursday and down the stretch here whether the Bucs deserve to be a division champion for the 5th year in a row, or whether they have to ask themselves some serious questions in the offseason about whether or not the staff and the structure that's in place now is good enough to get the job done anymore. It's been good enough to this point, but if it's not even good enough to win this division anymore, that's where Jason Light and the ownership have to start asking tough questions about Todd Bowles and the entire staff about whether or not now it's time to try to raise the ceiling a little bit, because this staff has taken us as far as we can go.
When is the last time this season did they look like a contender? October? When's it been? When they 4 quarters of football, they're healthy. I can't even remember. I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, let's be clear. They have not been healthy all season. Like, they have not played a single game with all of their starters at all. Like, even 1 minute, 1 moment. Okay, like Jalen McMillan got his neck injury in the preseason. He's the starting wide receiver in three receiver sets. Chris Godwin has been working his way back from last year's injury. He has not been healthy the whole time. They lose Kalijah Cansey, their best interior pass rusher, the first drive of, or I think it was at halftime of week 2 against Houston. They lose Luke Easterling, the right tackle, the first drive of that game in week 2. Mike Evans is gone for a month. Chris Godwin's gone for a month. Tristan Wirfs has missed a couple games. Bucky Irving was out for a month. Like, this team, we have not seen the actual Tampa Bay Buccaneers all on the field at the same time. So that's why up until this game, the Bucs have beaten all the bad teams and lost to all the good teams. Yes. Because even injured, they were still good enough to beat the bad teams, even if it was close, like the Arizona game. And every time they played a good team, whether it was a close one or, the only thing I'd say, the Houston game, that week 2 game that they won at the last second, Houston's a good team, but like, Houston wasn't what they are right now. Like, what Houston was not a good football team in week 2. And so the answer to your question is never. We've never seen it for multiple reasons. We've still yet to see the Bucs at full strength, and we've still yet to see them live up, like, play to the level of their opponent. We've yet to see them go up against an actually good team and prove that they're one of them. They're a mediocre team. That's what they are.
Well, then it's a miracle that they're 1 game above 500 right now. I'm sorry to tell you that.
They're still in first place technically because of tiebreakers. Like, they're still technically first place in the division. That's the thing. Like, if you want to have a glass half full perspective on this, it's that even with all the injuries, even with the just disgusting loss on Sunday, all of the bad things that have happened to this team and everything that's gone wrong, they still have everything in front of them. They still control their own destiny over the last 4 weeks of the season. Even if they again just go 3-1, they could lose to the Dolphins. Like, you could probably even lose to the Falcons and then win the next 3. Like, if you win 3 out of these last 4, you win the division again. You go to the playoffs despite all of that. And again, Tristan Wirfs missed Sunday's game. He should be back this week. You might get Evans and McMillan back Thursday. You definitely probably looking at having them for the last 3 games of the season. Kalijah Cansey could come back maybe for the playoffs from that biceps injury. Like, this team, if they give themselves a chance, could get healthy at the right time and finally be the as close to the version we thought we were going to get for the whole season. And then they could be dangerous in the playoffs. But you got to get there first. And we'll have to find out if they have enough in the tank to get that far.
All right, I'm going to make my prediction here on Monday, December 8th. They're going to win the division, go 10-7.
and
then host like the 14-3 Seattle Seahawks. That's what
get their ass beat, probably.
Yeah.
Like
that. How is the West? I mean, you're out there. Is the NFC West? Is it just going to be 3 teams with 12 or more wins? Is that what's going to happen here?
It sure looks like it, man. The Rams and the Seahawks here in a couple weeks is going to be absolute cinema to watch. At least I hope it is. As again, I as a Bucs fan, I hate the Rams, and now that again I'm up in the Pacific Northwest, I root for the Seahawks just so my neighbors are happy. But yeah, that division is fun to watch. Again, the Bucs did beat the 49ers, but they didn't have like those 49ers were as banged up as anybody. It was Mac Jones. It was like, I know Fred Warner's still out, but they were a much harder, which by the way, Kyle Shanahan is coach of the year by a mile to have that team looking at double-digit wins with all the injuries they've had. Yeah, the NFC West is not a fun place to be if you're an opposing team. They're full of tough teams.
And the Niners are kind of under the radar. You're not really thinking about them. And for the first time in 2 years, there's no stupid contract dispute either with one of the players. They're just playing football. That's what they're doing. So here's what happened yesterday. This is the NFC overall. So at kickoff, the Bears were the 1 seed. They lose with 20 seconds to go in a 1-possession game. Now they're the 7th seed. What does that say about the end? Like, is this a gauntlet? What is this exactly?
Yeah, I mean, it says that the playoffs should be really entertaining. The thing is, though, it's not any better in the AFC. Like,
no.
if the playoffs ended today and you were top 4 seed, like the 2, 3, and 4 seeds, if you get a home game in the wild card round, that means you get to play either the Bills with Josh Allen, the Chargers, who are again when they're on, and if Justin Herbert's healthy, or the Texans, who are the hottest team in the league right now, and they just knocked off the Chiefs on the road. So like, even in the AFC, you got 2 11-win teams at the top in Denver and New England, and then after that, you're talking about teams again that are going to have to host Josh Allen in the wild card round. Like, that's your gift for winning your division. That's what you get on both sides of the equation here. The playoffs. And I love it. Like, if I just remove my Bucs fandom from this, like, this is one of the best, most entertaining seasons of football we've had, because it's not like there is no dominant team. There's a huge amount of there's a big chance that every team that goes to the playoffs has a legit shot to win the Super Bowl on both sides of the bracket. And I think that's just fantastic for the sport.
I agree. Let's end with this with Luke Easterling, and I appreciate you coming on to get this all off your chest. All right, I know you prefer.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity. It's good. It doesn't even cost me like $100 an hour. It's great.
Well, there you go. All right, this is the tough question. There's no wrong answers here. So Lamar Jackson, it looks like something is wrong. He doesn't have the pep in his step.
Well, I mean, he's hurt. He's hurt. Let's be like, he's injured.
So here's the thing: if he can't run around like he usually does, I don't think he's effective quarterback, right? Like, he's not helping his team win games. And that final drive, I don't know what the hell that was, where they had the ball 50. So this was funny. When I look at Caleb Williams, he uses his feet. He runs around. If you take that away from these types of players, can they still be effective? That's what I'm concerned of as an NFL quarterback.
The thing is, they can still be effective, but they have to have help. Because and again, a lot of this is on Todd Monken, the offensive coordinator. Like, if you as an offense can't do what you would like to do, and you don't have the ability to adjust and do what you have to do, you're screwed. Like, really. Like, I go back to the Bucs in the last year of Brady's tenure, right? That excruciating year where they were just, I think they were 8-9 and still won the division because the division sucked, but then they get blown out by the Cowboys in the first round. That team was so hard to watch, partly because the offense lost multiple starters on the offensive line, and it was a scheme that required constant elite protection for Tom Brady to have a clean pocket to work. And when you don't have that, and then you don't make adjustments to the scheme to account for it, you get what we got from those Bucs that year, which is an offense that just looked disjointed and couldn't move the ball because they didn't change anything. They just expected that Tom could still drop back, stand there for 5 seconds, and then find an open receiver. And it wasn't the case. The problem with the Ravens offense is, if you know, Lamar has multiple injuries, like lower body injuries that he's dealing with. He's had a hamstring, he's had an ankle, he's had a knee. Like, he clearly is uncomfortable and unable to be as explosive as a runner as he wants to be. Okay, if you know that as an offensive coordinator, you have got to do more around him with the way you're scheming, your route concepts, the way you're using your play action, the way you're using Derrick Henry in the run game. You have got to mold your offense around the fact that he cannot do that right now. So what can he do? Because lazy people will look at the film and say, it was always that Lamar was always just a running quarterback. And this is why if you take the running away, he's not a good passer. That's absolute BS if you watch last year's Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson, by every metric on the planet, was the best quarterback from the pocket in the NFL last year. 41 touchdown passes and 4 interceptions, 10-1 touchdown to interception ratio. And the majority of that came from the pocket. He was surgical from the pocket last season. And then he gets to the playoffs, and Todd Monken, for whatever reason, the scheme changes. And again, Lamar deserves his own, blame for certain decisions he makes with the ball. But like Todd Monken just has these moments where like, I don't think he understands what he's like. He stops doing what's working. And so this year it's a little bit different where clearly he's uncomfortable running because of the injuries. What are you going to do as a play caller, as an offensive philosophy? Like, how are you going to change the structure around him to accentuate the fact that he is an elite pocket passer at when he's got everything around him? How are you going to feature that and make that work? You've got to have better route combos. You've got to have better scheme to open things up to allow him to win from the pocket. Because when the running threat is not there, the defense is just going to sit back and wait for that. You've got to help him out. Again, I'm not trying to absolve him of any blame because he looks broken. But it's a team game for a reason. You've got to do as much as you can to help your quarterback. If they give that to him, I think he can win from the pocket. I think he's just trying to do it all on his own, and the help just isn't there.
They're not winning.
Oh my God. Right now, if the playoffs started today, Mahomes, Lamar, and Joe Burrow would not be in the playoffs. Like the 3 of the 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL. That's wild to me.
It feels like everyone has a quarterback right now. That's the weirdest thing.
I think there's like 20 teams that are like, yeah, I think we got the guy. And that's crazy. That's incredible.
That is incredible. It's awesome.
And then there's the Raiders and the Jets. It makes it feel worse, right?
Did you like Shedeur Sanders then against a terrible team? What he did?
Absolutely, but that's what you do. You start there.
Yeah.
You dominate bad teams, and then you work from there. Like his progression over the last few weeks has been fantastic. I think the Browns do not need to take a quarterback in this draft. They need to draft around him and see what they've got. He never should have been a 5th round pick. That was silly.
But we've talked to this to death. He should have had a better attitude. I mean, what are you doing? I'm sorry.
I could do an entire episode about
he should not have been in the 5th round.
I could do an entire episode about how hilarious it is. If it's true that the NFL wanted to teach him a lesson and, show that like, I don't want to hear that from NFL owners. Like, I don't want to hear that from you guys. I really don't. Like, about what I just don't. Like, okay, like you guys have proven time and time and time again that if a player is talented enough, that you will, no matter what has happened off the field, you will move heaven and earth for that player. So the fact that you don't like that he flashes his watch around means you're not going to I don't want to hear it. I don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Look, he's playing in the NFL. All you got to do is get drafted, and he did. The thing that scares me is that Deshaun Watson is still making that money, right? He's still getting paid. All right. His name's Luke Easterling. I don't want to discuss him too much. Luke, thanks for your help and have a great week. All right, buddy?
Appreciate it, Mark. Take care, man.